everyone. Welcome to Modified Live. I am so glad that you're joining us. I am joined tonight in our studio, which is also the Modified Room, and Kid City Park, and our overflow worship space, and like our multi-purpose rental room, and pretty much everything else. But I'm here, and I'm joined tonight by Caitlin, who's like an OG Modified staffer extraordinaire, who is going to be shipping out soon, which is crazy. We'll talk more about that later, and that is hard to talk about right now. And Kevin, who is one of our church's missionaries, and also one of our church's members, and a resident of resident of Lansing. Lansing,
Yep.
yeah. So we're basically neighbors, and he works at his house. So it's gonna be a really good night tonight. I'm glad that you guys are with us. I see you guys tuning in. Hi Rachel. Hi Emma. You can't hear anything because it's muted. Somebody tell Emma that it's muted in the chat. So or hit refresh or something. You have the camera or you have the microphone on, right? Right? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Mic's on. Clap once if you can hear me. If you can hear the sound of my voice, clap once. All right. So yeah. Anyways, glad you're here tonight. Modified is the student ministry of South Lansing Christian Church. And we hang out on Monday nights, and we were hanging out on Monday nights before the coronation happened, and we're hanging out now. So if you were invited by a friend, we're glad that you're here hanging out with us. We got some things coming up, and before we get to them, I want to talk about the rules of Modified. Modified has 3 rules, and those still apply even though we are meeting online and not in person. The first one is respect yourself. The second one is respect other people, and the third is respect the church building. And we're realizing that respecting the church building is super easy right now, unless you like Photoshop Wally's face on top of the church or something. That would be strange. But respecting the church building is pretty easy. Respecting yourself and respecting other people, you guys can accomplish that by posting in a manner that honors the people around you in the chat and on social media and in the things that we're joining in. So those are Modified's rules. As far as what's coming up at Modified, tonight we're starting our new discussion about life after high school. And then next week we're going to be jumping in again. Eric's going to be teaching us. We're talking about the See No Evil, our series on justice and injustice a little bit. And then the following week we will be joined somehow in some form by a friend from Great Lakes, and we'll be talking again a little bit more about life after high school. And then beyond that, we've got some senior stuff that we need to do at the end of the year. So seniors, make sure you fill out the link. It was in the roller. We'll post it in here in a little bit, but we want to make sure that we celebrate seniors at the end of the year. And then we're going to take a couple weeks off because it's going to be like Memorial Day, and suddenly it'll be summer, and it's crazy. Also, I just sent in the deposit, our second deposit for CIY, and we want you to know that CIY is happening in some form or another. We don't know what that form will be yet. It has not officially been canceled yet at Hope College, so it's possible we'll be at Hope. And if it's not at Hope, we will be able to do CIY in whatever groups we're allowed to do them in, whether that's groups of 50, so our whole youth group can get together, or groups of 10. We'll make sure that CIY happens here in Lansing. So that's the plan for that. Make sure you sign up for that. I'm going to be sending emails out to your parents this week. Important stuff. So before we get there, let's do a little official introduction. So I just realized that all 3 of us on camera tonight are Michigan State University alums.
So close.
It counts even if you haven't graduated, though, I think. Isn't that technically?
Yes, so.
Yeah.
I have 5 days left.
So, Caitlin, tell us, why did you choose Michigan State, and what was your major?
What was?
She's
that's
graduating
weird.
almost, yeah.
I chose MSU because it's big, pretty much. I'm from a tiny town. It's technically a village. You go in and it says, "Welcome to the village of Hesperia," and there's like a sign with a fish on it. And yeah, I just was like, I want to go big, so I did.
You went big.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any? Is the University of Michigan bigger, or is it just snobbier? Probably just snobbier.
What am I allowed
Definitely
to say right
snobbier.
now?
Snobbier,
Yeah.
snobbier, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they're bigger.
So it's basically the biggest university in Michigan. Michigan State is. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, you heard it here. Nice. Okay. And did you tell us your major? What was your major?
My major is arts and humanities.
Okay.
Was
Nice, nice. And your post-college plans?
My post-college plans right now, I'm in the process of going to South Korea to be an English teacher.
That's so crazy. The other side of the world. That's
Yeah.
exciting. Yeah.
13 hours ahead of us.
Modified will miss you, but you can still phone in. You can still like do the modified online
Yes.
thing. Yeah,
It is 8 o'clock in the morning there right now.
yeah, perfect. Yeah, you'd be wide awake on a Tuesday morning
Yeah,
before class. Let me phone into modified.
right.
Kevin, you're also a Michigan State alumnus, and yeah, why did you choose state, and what was your major there?
Yeah.
What, like 12 years ago?
No,
15 years
well,
ago?
we won't talk about that.
Older?
So yeah, right. Yeah. I chose Michigan State because it was far away from me. I grew up in the Upper Peninsula, about 6.5 hours from Lansing.
I mean, you do seem pretty Canadian.
Ooh.
We'll explore that later.
Okay.
So I wanted to be far away from home. Usually that's a pretty popular choice, is to get away from the parents and just kind of start fresh. But at the same time, going into my freshman year at Michigan State, my sister was starting her senior year at Michigan State. And so I knew that family was going to be close by, and I knew I had some place where I could do my laundry, and it worked out really well because most of the time she just picked it up and did it herself.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say laundry is a big deal in college. Like when you guys get to college, finding a place where you can do your laundry, that's a huge deal. Yeah, it's hard to find.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if you live on campus, it's pretty well right
But you
now.
gotta like put the quarters in and stuff,
No, it's
right?
free.
Yeah,
It's
no.
free on campus.
So it went from a time where it was
Oh,
free, then
what?
you had to pay for it, then it was free again.
No way.
and- yeah.
You're also
Yeah.
technically paying for room and board.
Wow.
You know,
So-
that's, yeah, it's,
Okay.
it's
No
true.
coins, though.
Yeah. Yeah. And I studied electrical engineering, and
That
as soon as
sounds
I got that, it sounds smart. I don't remember
Yeah.
one bit of it.
Okay.
I haven't used it at all.
Okay. Nice.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
people often confuse that for being an electrician, and I wish that was the case, because that would be far more helpful to me now than electrical engineering is.
Like, so when you need to change something electrically at your house, you don't like pull out the textbooks and go.
Yeah, those textbooks are long gone. You know,
Amps,
but doing
voltage.
calculus and differential equations isn't not going to help me solder a wire.
Yeah, I couldn't do any of that. But my major at Michigan State was horticulture, and I also don't use that hardly ever. I mean, I
You
planted.
grow plants. Though.
I grow some plants, yeah. but I find myself Googling how to grow plants and not using the knowledge and the degree. Yeah. So.
You see.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, cool. Well, thanks for being here.
Here.
And we are going to start off the night. We've been showing some crazy animal videos recently, and it's just like the animals are taking over the world while we're all stuck in coronation. And so I think our first video is of some poor cat that is trying to get through a successively smaller space. And so this is that video. Here we go. All right, my favorite part was when the cat's like, I can't fit, but maybe if I try even faster. It reminds me of a few times when I was on the farm, and I'd get stuck, and I'd just be like, all right, going for it, all the way, and bad things would happen. So, you guys have pets?
No,
I used to.
kids, no pets.
Kids, pets, equally destructive, equally distracting. Their kids are great. If my kids are watching tonight, I love you guys. All right, so if you guys are anything like me, your social media feed has been just full of like inspirational moments and like people trying to. Well, here's what it actually. So I was gonna say that in a nice way, but what it really is a lot of extroverts are really having a hard time inside of their houses, and so they're just filling up my social media feed with all of these things like, hey, we're all stuck in here for a month, so watch me play the guitar. And somebody who's never played a guitar before or a keyboard. It's crazy. So Eric found us a video that involves a cat, so it checks the animal box, and it's kind of an example of every single social media post that I've seen in the last 6 weeks. So this is what this looks like. I hope that you feel uplifted, inspired. Are you guys feeling inspired out there? Maybe a little smarter after watching that video?
It just shows we all have a creative side.
Yeah, but maybe some of us should like suppress, like,
Or not show other people.
yeah, or not show other people. Yeah, that was really something. Thanks for finding that, Eric. This is great. Hey, also, more things to blame on Eric. He created our game for the night, and so if you are triggered by the thought of illness right now, or feel like this is insensitive to talk about diseases, I'm sorry. Blame Eric. That's what he's here for, right, Eric?
Yeah.
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 All right. Oh, yeah. Can you flip off the heat too? I think we're going. Hey, we're gonna play a game called Disease or Nah. Disease or Nah, and this game is all about diseases that are maybe real or maybe fictitious, and we have to decide. And so Eric is keeping score, and at the end of this, we're going to be able to see who gets eternal fame and glory, because we have no prizes unless you want the bottle of hand sanitizer that's floating around here. Actually, that's a great
That's what
prize.
this way
At the
goes,
end of this,
yeah.
you will get to
Yes.
go home with your very own bottle of hand sanitizer. So this could be cutthroat, actually. All right, so the goal of this game is to end up with the most points at the end of 10 rounds. Each round, the name of a disease will appear on the screen. We can get points in 2 different ways: correctly guessing whether the disease is real or fake, or if the disease is real by guessing correctly about the effects of the disease on the patient. Eric, well done. All right, round 1. Here we go. Do we get
Can the
points
creator pronounce it
Yeah.
for us?
Well, we should.
That's Argyria.
Argyria or something like that?
Argyria.
Argyria?
Yes, spoken by a true electrical engineer right here. He knows all. I think I should get some points if I pronounce this correctly, and I have decreed it's Argyria. Yeah, that wasn't what Kevin said. All right,
Exactly what
real or real or fake? I'm gonna go real.
So we're doing names is one thing, and then symptoms is another thing we have to guess.
Whether it's real and then what you think what it does.
I think this is a disease of the fingernails. Actually, if you don't clean your fingernails enough, what do people say? Emma says it is fake.
I'm going with Emma.
Now,
I say fake.
if you guys are just going to use the internet and cheat, then I can't look at this chat right now. Just want you to know. All right, we got a fake. I got a
I'm
real.
going real.
Real. We got two
Real.
reels. I
Yeah.
think I'm feeling pretty good about
Let's
this.
go Real.
All right, and do you have any ideas for what it is? If it's real? Oh, there we go. Disease is caused by a buildup of silver sediment in the body. As a result, a person's skin has a silverish blue. What?
Oh,
Well, that's really
that's
sad.
a silly name.
How does that happen?
Organic.
Nobody knows.
Someone who if you work with a lot of silver, it can happen. As far
Okay.
as that concerned.
All right, so Kevin and I get 1 point, even though it's a 0. But I'll take that. I'll take that 0. All right, yeah,
There we
look at
go.
us.
There you go.
Eric, well done. Well done. All right, number two. Vampire syndrome.
Oh, Hundo P. Real.
Man, pretty confident.
Yeah.
Really? Vampire syndrome? What do you think it causes people to do?
Sparkle.
Stop.
I'm gonna go real. Yeah.
Real?
Yeah.
All right. I'll
To do with the sun, fear of the sun, or
Yeah.
maybe garlic or something.
Oh, I'm allergic to garlic. I have vampire syndrome.
you know, I'm gonna say I'm gonna go real. I'm gonna hedge my bets too. I'm gonna go real, but do I get 2 points if I guess what it does? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is some like blood condition where like
Where you want one.
no, like you're like yeah. I'm gonna leave it at that. It's a blood condition. All right. I should at least get a half a point for this. And the answer is, it is real. I guess the green arrow is real. Is
Dude.
that right?
Yeah. Really.
Okay.
Come on now.
Also called xeroderma. Anyone who has it can't be in the sunlight without severe consequence. That's
I
actually.
said sparkle.
I
That's
actually
because
have
they're in the
that. I have
sunlight.
that.
Sparkling is
The
severe
spots on the
consequence.
skin which were exposed to ultraviolet become inflammatory. I mean, people, look at his face. I can't be in the sun.
Yeah, I called the sunlight though.
Did you?
I said it was
Did you?
real.
That was.
Was it?
I said it was real.
If you give Kevin 2 points, I'm
I
gonna
better
be real
get 2
sad.
points.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna give Kevin 2 points.
That's right. Did you not hear me say that?
I blocked it out.
Yeah.
Jennifer thinks
Jennifer
she won,
got it right, I think.
but
yeah.
I feel like I won. I feel like I really did. All right, next up. Stone Man syndrome. What? If this is one of those funny
Nah.
games where they're all real, even though they should
Right.
all be
I'm going
fake.
nah. on
You
this
gonna go
one.
no?
Nah.
Disease or
I mean, it's
nah?
got to be no at some point.
Okay. Well, I mean, does it? There's one day that we played this Jelly Belly game, and they just kept giving us nasty Jelly Bellies, and there
What
were
would they
never
do?
any good
No,
ones.
they wouldn't do
They
that
set,
to you.
they set us up bad. Stone Man syndrome. Yeah, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say nah. Nah. Caitlin?
I'll say real just to be different.
And what is it? Like, what do you think it does? Can I guess nah and then also guess a symptom? Like,
Like you need
how would you
lotion.
do that?
I don't think that makes sense.
You need
Your,
lotion.
your skin is
You need
severely
lotion.
dehydrated and you just
Why
start
are-
cracking and you look like a stone.
Should this game actually be called dermatological disorders or not? Is that what this whole game is? All right, we got real, and it's something with your skin.
Nah.
Nah. Oh, it's also called
Fibrodysplasia ossificans progressiva.
Wow, good job, Doc. Or FOP for short. It is a progressive genetic disorder that turns soft tissues into bone over time.
Yeah.
This is a real downer of a game, Eric. Oh man. Okay.
Interesting.
Count
Give me that
tonsillitis or
point.
something.
Let's
Give
go.
us something.
Emma says seriously dry skin.
Yeah.
Seriously.
All
Yeah.
right.
Emma
Well,
and I are on the
right?
same
Caitlin?
wavelength right now.
you and I are. We're-
Emma and I.
Oh, Emma. Yeah. Okay. Next up. The simian flu. Yeah, it's like a monkey flu. Yeah, simian. Because
Yeah.
funny story.
What's
When we went to our church in Illinois after having simian that first week, one of our deacons came up and he was like, "Hey, why did you name your son after a monkey?" And we're like, "Hey, why have you not read the Bible? It's not spelled right." We might have been nicer then. Anyways, yeah, I was offended. But yeah, the simian flu, I'm gonna say yeah, and it's some kind of flu people got from monkeys, like the bird flu and the swine flu, simian flu. Yeah. So yeah. Also, it's got like numbers behind it. It's real.
I think that's what.
That's just gonna throw you off.
Right.
He could be really tricky.
But if somebody knew of the simian flu, I mean, I have to say disease, but symptoms though.
like runny nose and fever.
every flu.
Like everything.
Well,
Yeah.
then I'm gonna win. Yeah.
You pick?
Did you pick?
Did you pick?
Oh yeah, disease.
Yeah.
That's a
Yes.
real deal.
Yeah.
I say. What did I say the last one?
You said
You said.
the opposite of us, so just do it again. Say no.
Okay, I say no.
Yes.
Yeah, it worked out well
Just
for
gonna
you.
win. Good job, Weston.
There we go.
Oh, this fictional virus was created for the Planet of the Apes franchise. No. Good job. The disease was created as a cure for Alzheimer's. It was deadly to humans, but it caused the brains of apes to develop rapidly. This is probably not a shocker to you all, but I've never seen the Planet of the Apes. And yeah, have you guys seen it?
No.
Like the old one or the new one?
I think
Yeah.
I've seen the old one. A lot
My
of them.
my coworkers give me a hard time regularly for not having seen anything, and it hurts. The knife cuts deeply. All right, next up,
Oh, there we go.
McGregor.
McGregor syndrome. This sounds like something straight out of a movie. Like McGregor's.
Ewan? Is that his name? Ewan? Is that how you? That's not how you spell his name.
I have no idea.
It's
My
a double
wife
G.
really wants me to bring the sanitizer home. I'll try to. I'm trying. I'm trying.
I'm going disease on this one.
Disease? I'm saying no.
I'm saying no,
no. No.
What
Okay.
do you think it does, Kevin?
Oh man.
Audrey
What's
thinks it's
the-
real. If it's not, my brain is evil. Okay, well, yeah, maybe.
What does it do? McGregor.
You gotta speak
You
like an
lose.
Irishman.
You just start losing your memory.
McGregor. You okay? Well,
McGregor's
that's
like a
dark.
MMA fighter,
Is he? I don't know.
Yeah. It's
okay.
either that or golfer. 'Cause he's like Irish, right? Oh!
Oh, this disease made an
Here we
appearance
go.
in the Batman movie franchise. Eric, way to make these extra believable by
Please,
taking
yeah.
like not just making them up yourself. This mysterious disease killed the wife of the man that would become one
Mr.
of Batman's
Freeze.
iconic villains,
Oh.
Mr. Freeze.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I haven't seen really. I've seen like Batman Begins. So,
He had the best
There we
lines
go.
though.
There we go.
is this Josh Antonopoulos or Kevin over here? I don't know. All right, Caitlin's in the lead. This cannot last. I will not stand for this. All right, let's go. What? Yersinia pestis. Yersinia pestis. This is a disease of plants. That's what I stand behind that answer. A disease of plants.
Like,
Fake. Everybody says fake. Everybody says fake. I'm.
Oh no, those F's in the chat are for Audrey. She's gone.
Oh, wait, what?
Yersinia.
what? Why is Audrey gone?
Able to figure out.
Okay, I don't know. I don't know what's going on in the chat. You guys carry on.
Yersinia.
Yeah.
It's a disease.
Yes,
It's gotta
it's-
be a disease.
Yeah. What does it do?
I have no idea. I don't know the.
You're
I mean, if you knew the Latin or something,
It's
I feel like it.
So it's something with plants. So I'm gonna say it's like some kind of
Pestis. You said
fungal infection. Fungal infection. Sorry.
plants.
No, like I was thinking like plants, but no, I've decided fungus. I changed my mind. Fungal infection. That's what I got. Anything else?
What was your answer?
I think it's real.
Yeah.
I don't know what it does.
We'll find out
Maybe
right now.
something with
Something
your
intestine.
speech.
Oh, it is real.
Black
This disease has
plague.
many names, but it's most familiar as a black plague. This bug has shown up in multiple times over the course of human history, the worst being in Europe in the 1300s, and it is a fungal disease. For sure, I read that up there.
It's a bug.
No? Okay, I guess it's not a fungal disease. All right, next up. I'm winning,
Got
right?
it right.
I got 4, though. I got 4.
Oh, but I got 5, so.
Wait, all of you guys said
Yeah.
four, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Point there.
Hey, look at that. I feel good about that 4. I got 80%. All right, how many more do we got?
Spatter.
This is
Spatter
number
Fright?
Number 7 to 10. Spatter.
Is this
Spatter.
PG?
This is straight out of Guardians of the Galaxy, which I also have not seen. But yeah.
But you know it's.
But I know.
But you know
But
it's
you
from-
I
know.
know it's fake. It's nah. Nah.
I've seen Guardians of the Galaxy numerous times. I don't remember that.
There's
Yeah,
a lot of thinking going on
It
here.
is. I mean, it's.
Lots
There's
of thinking.
hand sanitizer on the line.
I know, man.
That's
And
serious
it, like
business.
it's like a fairly
That's pretty. That's
full
pretty cool.
bottle.
I'm gonna go disease on.
Mm,
Spattergroit.
yeah.
I'm gonna say no, because that sounds awful, and I hope it's not.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh, disease created for the Harry Potter. What? Casey, where are you in here? She said it's from Harry Potter. She was on it. It's a disease that covers the victim in
Really?
purple pustules and renders them unable to speak.
Man, I'm really falling off.
Casey, I need you here in this room, not on the chat. I could have won. I would have trusted you on that
Sounds
one.
familiar though.
Anything that she says about Harry Potter is real. Casey knows. I mean, not real, but it really happened in the books. She's like an encyclopedia. All right, good job.
We've got 3 more. And then a tiebreaker if necessary.
Yeah.
TS19. I feel like this is like the
I'm gonna say real.
the T virus out of Resident Evil. I think that's got to be it. TS19. Real or not real? Fictitious,
Oh, no.
but not made up by Eric.
I'm gonna say real. It's some strain of something that happened in 2019.
Ooh, that's
Mm.
pretty
Oh,
good.
yeah,
That's,
yeah, COVID.
that's the disease. What does it do? I mean,
The TS?
Tuberculosis.
the T's. Yeah, that's
Toe.
The toe syndrome.
it's something to do with your
Toe
tongue and
syndrome.
pronunciation.
Mhm.
I was thinking.
Okay.
How many body parts?
Oh,
Walking Dead.
this disease ravaged the United States in The Walking Dead. Oh,
I
that's close.
not
Resident
watch
Evil
that.
Walking Dead.
Yeah.
It causes the clinical death of the victim and creates a zombie-like state post-death. Yeah, I feel like I should get 2 points for that.
2
Well,
points
I
for
was-
that, Walter?
I was really close.
2. I don't
He's
think
got
I
to
get
do
2.
what I tell him
I
to
don't
do.
know. No, you're tied now.
Oh, I am tied? Okay, I'll take a tie. I'll take a tie. All right, next up. Necrotizing
Fasciitis. Fasciitis. It's going to
fasciitis.
become a fascist.
I mean, it sounds like
Oh.
something.
Yeah, this is real.
I'm gonna go real.
This is the disease.
Wait, Caitlin's
I
tied with
don't
me.
want it.
I kind of want to go with whatever Caitlin's going with, so I don't fall behind. I'm gonna go real. I'm gonna go real.
So what does it do?
It causes necrosis.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not a doctor. Don't ask me these questions.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I'm there. What do you-
Necrotizes
yes?
the fascia.
I'll say real too. I think it sounds like necro, which makes me think of necromancy.
Well, I like some kind of like
Skin death.
tissue death.
So you
Yeah.
like
Okay.
dead people,
Yeah. All right.
which is a disease apparently.
Oh, one of the many flesh-eating diseases out there is an infection that results in the death of parts of the body's soft tissue. This is severe disease of sudden onset that spreads rapidly. I demand 2 points for that.
Yeah, I'll give you 2 points for that.
Yes.
The flesh-eating bacteria.
Sorry, Caitlin, you get
Did
1
you
point.
Did you say flesh something?
No,
Yeah.
but I said like disease that like what did I say? I don't know. I'm
You
sure I
said
said it
disease
right.
in this game called disease or not.
No,
It's either disease
no.
or
I
not.
swear I said it like it
Yeah,
causes
give him
death.
2 points.
It causes
okay,
death,
whatever.
Mine
tissue
too.
death. I said tissue death.
I get 2.
I said dead.
We can rewind this when
So
I
I
post
should
it on
do points.
Facebook, and then we'll know that I have been vindicated.
Wait, so
2 points for
everybody gets
1.
2 points?
No, Caitlin
No,
gets 1.
Caitlin gets
I
1.
get 2.
Right, okay. So there's that.
In this game,
There
if
we
you
go.
shout loud
There we
enough, you get to win the game. Wait, what? Who's ahead there?
Oh, okay.
You.
Go back.
are.
Oh, okay. I'm
Oh,
good.
by
All
one
right.
point.
Okay,
gosh.
don't worry about it. I thought Caitlin and I thought we should all be.
Never, please.
No, I fell behind.
Shouldn't Caitlin and I be the same?
Nope, you're not.
No, because you fought for it. Whatever.
All right, next up.
Alright.
Chocolate.
Yes,
I'm gonna go real with that one.
I've definitely had that before. So it's
No, that was made up on The Office.
yeah.
Wow.
I do think no.
Yeah, this is the Office one. Yeah, so no.
Okay, no. No.
Yeah, created by Genius Paper Salesman.
Jimothy?
Jimothy Halpern to create chaos while his co-worker Dwight Schrute was trying to figure out healthcare for Dunder Mifflin, Scranton.
I remember that.
Wait, did he call himself Jimothy for some reason?
It was just one of the things he was called over the show.
Oh, I didn't know that. Jimothy. Okay.
Well, Michael called him Jimothy.
Jimothy.
Alright,
It's been a while. Hey, look,
2
we're all
points
tied.
definitely for Kevin.
Oh,
Two.
nice.
He was first on that.
When do we get 2 points for nose?
Hey,
When you know why it's wrong.
all I have to
That
say
wasn't in the beginning.
is
Oh,
one
that's true.
one
That
person
is true.
is getting
Who
a
came up
I
with
feel like I
Made
should
the
give it
rules.
to him though, because he was like right there.
He made the rules.
Give him a sympathy point. It'll
Yeah.
be fine.
Appreciate it, I'll take it.
It'll be fine. Yeah.
Alright.
Somebody still has a commanding lead right here. How many?
Commanding.
How many?
Alright, this is the last one.
This is the final one.
Yeah.
Nice. So if I keep my lead, I win.
Oh wait, I guess this one's technically the tiebreaker.
Oh, this is a tiebreaker. Okay. So how many points is it worth if it's a tiebreaker?
I mean,
2
we'll
points.
just say if you lose, then they win.
Okay. Well, I feel
Then
like
we
I
get to fight.
probably should have won already.
Hands it.
All right. Alien hand disease. I'm gonna go with.
I say real. It's real.
I think we need to write
It
these
makes
things
your
down
hands
because
go
he
like
was gonna
this.
say something else.
I gotta think about the strategy.
Just
Right?
say it
Whether
for everybody else takes.
if I
because
say
we're
the
getting
exact
quick
same thing
points
as all
now.
of you, I'm guaranteed. Well, what are you gonna say?
I'm gonna say mine last because I don't want you to
Well, that's
gain insight from my answer.
crappy, but okay. Emma Hoganson says real, so I'm gonna
Yep.
go with real.
Oh, it's a disease.
Makes your hands
alright.
go like this, also known as Ninja Turtle disease.
It's like when your hands fall asleep, you lose sensation in your hands.
Makes your hands go like this.
That's just,
Are you
Like aliens only have 3 fingers. That's science, Walter.
oh my god, come on.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, so far, we've learned that our college majors, Bible theology, electrical engineering, horticulture, and arts and humanities, are really good at the medical field. So, and the answer is it is characterized by the involuntary movements of a limb, usually a hand that seems purposeful or functional. People with this movement may also feel like the limb is not part of the body. I see nothing about going like this. So, negative points for
I
Katie.
said it really quick though, and I got it right, so I get 2 points then, right?
You did go out on a limb.
Ooh.
Oh, cereal and yogurt. I don't know what's going on. Can you put corn squares in yogurt? What are you guys talking about? What is happening on this chat? All right. That took a while, so that's cool. Hey, we're No, Eric, that was a really good game. Actually, it was a lot of fun.
It was
Good job.
educational.
It was educational.
Yes.
We learned a lot.
We learned.
We're better prepared to face the world outside of these 8 walls because it's an octagon.
Yeah, it's called Phantom Limb. That's what I thought too.
Phantom,
Sorry.
not alien hand syndrome.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, the reason I had you guys on tonight was because we're talking about life after high school. So I want to pray for us, and then we're gonna kind of dive in and just journey through the just plans post high school, post school for a lot of us, even just heading into the summer. What that looks like for us to choose to be followers of Jesus, even when life is changing. So let me pray, and then we'll go from there. Jesus, we come to you tonight, and we are thankful that we get to be modified, even though we're not all together in person. We are still together in spirit, and we're together online. God, I pray that the discussions that we have in our small groups tonight, as we talk about what's next and about choosing to pursue you, would be productive and would encourage all of us toward following you more fully and more deeply. God, guide our discussion, Kevin and Caitlin and myself, as we talk about this. And as we talk about the book of Joshua, and we pray that you're glorified here among us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Well, so guys, we're talking about this idea of life after high school, and I'm trying to find my guide for this. Sorry, here we go. We're going to be in the book of Joshua, chapter 24, later on tonight, so if you guys want to get there. The biggest idea, like the thing that we want you to take away tonight is this idea that to be successful, and I don't know about successful if that's the right word, but to move forward, you need to make a plan. And so Frank, our senior minister here, he says if you aim at nothing, you're going to hit it every time. And so we're asking you to just make a plan, choose to aim somewhere. And so that's where we're going. So when you were finishing up your senior year of high school, what were you guys' plans? Like when you were, if you think back it was a couple years ago for you, a couple years ago for you and for me. What were your plans post high school? You guys remember? College?
MSU.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, college,
Was it-
engineering degree,
was it
make a lot of money.
Okay. College engineering
was-
degree, make a lot of money.
Yeah, that was the degree that I thought would get me there.
Okay. Nice. All right. What about you? Like, were you going to be arts and humanities all along? Like,
I didn't really know. I knew that's what I wanted to study, and I knew that's where I wanted to go to school. I
okay.
trusted the rest would
Yeah.
work itself out later.
Okay. So did you switch majors multiple times, or you entered in with that same major and you stuck with it? And you entered in with electrical
Well,
engineering.
I
and you stuck
entered in
with
with computer science,
it? Okay.
and so my thought was, I mean, still kind of within engineering, but game
Yeah.
design,
Okay.
and then just didn't fit, and
Yeah.
so I just picked another engineering degree.
Okay.
Happened to be electrical engineering.
Yeah, I was not that way at all. I entered college. I went to Great Lakes Christian College initially because my whole youth group did. Like our youth group when I was growing up, we all went to Bible college for at least 1 year. Our minister was a professor at Great Lakes, and it's just a thing to do. And I think it was a super good start. But so I entered Great Lakes with this plan to go into business. And so yeah, my last year of high school, I'm like, I'm gonna go like study business, maybe end up back on the farm. I don't know. But yeah, so I entered college and I changed my major like so many times between then, and even ended up graduating with horticulture, and now I'm in ministry. And, so my journey was a little more circuitous. But yeah, that was what life was when I was leaving high school. We have over a dozen seniors at Modified this year, which is crazy. It's like a bumper crop. You guys are awesome. And we've got like another huge class of juniors coming up behind. And I know for you guys, you've got a lot of big decisions that you juniors you're starting to make now, and seniors you maybe have already made, or you're trying to figure them out. Whether that's going to be college or career, maybe community college, university, trade school. There's a lot of open uncertainty, and especially now with like the coronavirus and being on quarantine and lockdown. But no matter what those plans are, I was reading today and I came across this research from Lifeway. They poll graduates who they focus their research on church people, and so their research was asking people who have recently graduated if they stayed connected to a church. And what they found was over the course of the 4 years after high school, so students 18 to 23 years old, 2/3 of them who were plugged into a youth group disconnected from a youth group. And that's scary, because I like of the 12 to 13, 14 of you, I didn't count. That means like 8 to 10 of you guys who are seniors this year would disconnect from church and from a youth group after you graduate. And we don't want that to happen, but like that's the reality for people who don't make a plan. So how have you guys seen this play out? I mean, you're a campus minister at his house at Michigan State. You're involved in his house. You lived in the dorms. You were part of the university. Like, how have you guys seen this play out?
I mean, were you about
Go,
to-
no, go.
Okay. I mean, I have a lot of friends like in my college and stuff that say I know a lot of people who like grew up going to particularly Catholic church. I don't know if that means anything, but I know a lot of friends that went to Catholic church and just regular church. As soon as they get to college, they'd post like on Instagram on Easter or something, but that was about it. Yeah, they just never. I don't know if they didn't want to, they didn't look around, but that's just what I see, especially from people like back home.
Yeah.
They'd go to church with, they go off to college. That's it.
They're gone.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the students beginning of the school year, I get to meet a lot of incoming freshmen and just explore what their background was and what they're looking for, and a lot of them seem interested in connecting with a Christian group, with the church, but there's 600 or 700 student groups at Michigan State.
Yeah.
I mean, large university, so that's what it's like. And so usually they're getting connected in a lot of different things. In church often kind of falls behind, because that's not what the majority of other students are doing.
Yeah.
And so the majority of people that I get to meet and talk with, I don't see them again, which is sad. I don't get the full picture,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of different churches in the area, a lot of different ministries on campus that I don't see.
Yeah.
I try to stay engaged with them, text them every once in a while, but I don't think a lot of them get connected.
So do you think that research from Lifeway is true? Like the 2/3 of students who are plugged into a church, when they go off, they disconnect, they disengage?
Yeah, I don't know in what you found in the research, if it was like forever, if it was just for a period of time.
Yeah. The research said for at least a year. For a year, if not more, but for
Yeah.
at least a year.
Yeah, and I think that too is pretty common for at least the first couple of years
Yeah.
for a student, until something happens, they find out that the college life that they've been pursuing, that everybody else has been doing, and it's okay, it wasn't fulfilling me the way that I thought it was going to.
Yeah.
And then they just, okay, this person's either been bugging me, calling me, texting me, or
Yeah.
God's been doing something in my life. And
Yeah. I've seen research too, and it's been a while, and I don't have it in front of me, but it talked about like the first 2 weeks and then the first 6 weeks of the new semester, especially for new freshmen and going into college, is the most critical. And the people that they spend that first 6 weeks of time with are the people that they spend the rest of their 4 years of school with.
Yeah.
And has that played out to be true for you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that played out to be true for me, for sure,
Yeah.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think that when you surround yourself with people who are motivated to be plugged into a church, then you might find yourself plugging into a church more because you're with those people.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, because for you guys, what recruitment, like getting students plugged into campus ministry, like when is it the most? Do you feel like it's the most beneficial for you to touch base with a student? Is that like at the beginning of the school year or during the school
Oh
year?
yeah, definitely at the beginning of the school year. Like you said, those first 2 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's making new friends,
Yeah.
right? And that's the thing. You come out of a youth group, and you have all your friends there, but you go off to college, and a lot of times you're just by yourself. And if that's the case, then you're looking to get connected with a new group of friends,
Yeah.
and you find similar interests. You find, okay, this is my roommate. These are the people on my hall, on my floor, on campus, and then that's just who they're going to go with. So if you're like, hey, do you want to come check out our Bible study? You want to check out our worship service? You want to check out our small group? You're thinking, well, maybe, but none of my friends are going to come.
Yeah.
Like that's not what they're interested in, and so I'm just going to stick with my friends.
I see that. I mean, so you got plugged into his house your freshman year then? Was that how it worked? Like the first few weeks you were there?
Day 3?
Yeah.
Day 3?
Tell me about that process. How'd that work out?
So it happened at this thing that MSU does called Sparticipation, which is like where the 8 bajillion student orgs come and they go and like Cherry Lane Field, which is a big huge field, and they all set up like a booth and they're just kind of like plugging their organization, and then primarily freshmen, like their RAs will lead you all the way over there, and they want you to just plug in with a couple. I was church group hunting. I'm like up and down for like an hour, and then it started raining, and I went to go get food, and then they're like, "All right, you guys gotta go. We're shutting this thing down in 15 minutes." I'm like, I didn't find any church groups. And then as I'm leaving, well, you guys weren't like under the tents with all the booths. They were just like out in the field. Saw a sign that said his house. I was like, I don't know whose house they're talking about, but I think I have an idea. So I went up, and here I am.
Yeah.
So.
That's,
That was before classes started, right?
that's super cool.
Yeah, I mean that's what, and you got connected right away. Welcome barbecue. You met Mary, and
Yeah.
Yeah, so it kind of holds true that the first few weeks are critical. I think even if you're not heading off to university or college or whatever, I think the same thing can be said for if you're jumping into the workplace or
Right,
if you
yeah.
are going to a trade school or whatever it looks like. That first period of a few days to a few weeks is so critical on the habits that you set up and the people
Yeah.
that you choose to surround yourself with. And so when you go in intentionally, I think that makes a big difference. And so we're going to be jumping into the book of Joshua today and talking a little bit more about this intentionality. So are you guys familiar with this story? Like Joshua and the Israelites, have you? Your campus ministry.
Yeah.
You probably graduated, guys. Yeah. So for you students out who are out there, what happened was God's people, the Israelites, were enslaved in the land of Egypt for like 400 years, a super long time. And so parents and grandkids and great grandparents and like this generation after generation were stuck as slaves working for the Egyptian people. And then God rescued his people and he brought them out of Egypt. And they wandered around the wilderness for 40 years. This group of like a couple million people just wandering around. But they knew all this time that God was bringing them to this promised land, a land that he had designated as theirs, and that he was going to go before them and he was going to lead the people in, and he was going to help them clear his enemies out of this land, and that it would be just a fantastic place for them to thrive and flourish as God's people. And so it was this promise. And so the people went in, they entered the land, they crossed the Jordan River, and first Moses led them, and I'm sure you guys have heard the name Moses, and then Moses' apprentice Joshua led them, and so when they got to the land of Canaan, Joshua was kind of like this war leader, and he led them as they attacked and conquered cities all throughout the land, and just like pushed the people who were God's enemies out of this land, and then they were able to just make it their land, and it was God's land of promise. So we get all the way to the end of the book of Joshua, which is the record of all of these battles that they've fought and all of the ways in which God went before them. And we get to chapter 24, and the Israelites and Joshua are at this significant crossroads. And so Joshua is ready to retire, and the land's pretty much, it's the Israelites have won, but they've not finished clearing out all of the bad influences out of the land. And so Joshua tells them, hey, look, you got to finish the job, and you have to keep following God's plan. You've got this covenant, this kind of like legal agreement with God. And it's really interesting. I've read this passage to graduates, to seniors before. In Illinois, we did this thing called baccalaureate, and so we'd have a church service for seniors at the high school. And I read this passage to them, and I think it's really applicable for all of us who are at this crossroads of like what's next in life, because the Israelites were at a what's next moment, and Joshua comes in and he says this. So I'm going to read 14 verses, which is a little bit long, but you'll get through this with me. So fear the Lord, this is Joshua 24, verse 14, and serve him wholeheartedly. Put away forever the idols that your ancestors worshipped when they lived beyond the Euphrates River and in Egypt. Serve the Lord alone. But if you refuse to serve the Lord, then choose today who you will serve. Would you prefer the gods your ancestors served beyond the Euphrates, or will it be the gods of the Amorites in whose land you now live? But as for me and my family, we will serve the Lord. And so Joshua sets right out. He says, hey, look, this is where we're headed. My family, my clan, my people, we are going to serve the Lord. This is our plan. This is our pathway. We don't necessarily know every step. We don't know how it's going to look, but this is where we are going. And the people replied, and if you know the rest of the story, this is a little ironic, but the people replied, we would never abandon the Lord and serve other gods. For the Lord our God is the one who rescued us and our ancestors from slavery in the land of Egypt. He performed mighty miracles before our eyes. As we traveled through the wilderness among our enemies, he preserved us. It was the Lord who drove out the Amorites and the other nations living here in the land. So we too will serve the Lord, for he alone is our God. And then Joshua is pretty perceptive. He says this in verse 19. He warned the people, you are not able to serve the Lord, for he is a holy and jealous God. He's set apart, right? He's beyond, and he doesn't tolerate sin. Joshua continues on. He says, he will not forgive your rebellion and your sins. If you abandon the Lord and serve other gods, he will turn against you and destroy you, even though he has been so good to you. And the people answer Joshua again. They're like, no, we will serve the Lord. You kind of imagine them getting worked up at this moment. And then Joshua says, hey, look, you're a witness to your own decision. You have chosen to serve the Lord. Yes, they replied, we are witnesses to what we have said. All right, and Joshua said, destroy the idols among you, turn your hearts to the Lord, the God of Israel. And the people told Joshua, we will serve the Lord our God and will obey him alone. And so you got this picture of this old, maybe crotchety man standing up in front of this whole nation and saying, you guys are weaklings, you're not able to serve our God, you're not committed enough. Me and my family, we're going to serve God. We're planning on heading this direction. We have a plan. We have a purpose. We're headed off that way. And if you know the rest of the story, the Israelites did a pretty crummy job of this. And so the next book after Joshua is the story of the Judges, and the Israelites continually running away from God, and then God rescuing them, pulling them back in, and then them running away from God over and over and over again. And so I guess my question for you guys tonight is, at what points in your life, and I'm thinking probably specifically like post high school, has your commitment to God been tested? Or can you think of a moment like that, or a few moments or situation, moments when your commitment to God has been tested?
Yeah, I mean, mine, I guess. So here's a fun fact about my major, my college. It's very, I always lovingly refer to it as anti-Jesus. It's, I don't know, for a lot of different reasons. But like you said, those first 6 weeks, I was exploring his house, but also different clubs and groups that my college put on. And I was given a lot of opportunities, in those clubs and groups around those people to, not be Christ-like, and to not even just be like that, but to make fun of it and everything like that. They just don't care. A lot of disregard for Christianity, which is really convicting for me. So I was I could either go that route, which was cool, I say. That's how college to like me. Not that they hate me, but like
Yeah.
would have been in with me.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I didn't do that.
Yeah. So
Anyway.
you chose to not take that path.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. What about you, Kevin?
I guess I don't know if this will quite fit, but I'll answer it this way anyway.
Sure.
I came to Christ in college, so I became
Okay.
a Christian while I was in college. But I guess what tested my commitment to God was girls, women. I mean, dating,
Yeah.
and when
Relationships.
relationships, and when opportunities presented themselves to go to the next level in that relationship sexually, like it was what am I going to choose? And certainly there were, I mean, bad decisions that I made and dealt with after, and like what am I doing? Which route am I actually going to take?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I think for a lot of students, they can relate to the relationships being something that like pulls them and can be a distraction from where God wants them to go. So, my whole purpose in bringing up the Joshua passage is just to point out Joshua and his family made a plan, and they chose to pursue following the Lord.
Yeah.
Right? They didn't know how things were necessarily going to go, but they started out with a plan at the beginning, and that's what like we want you to think about as a student, whether you're going off to college, whether you're going off to work, or you know, living in your parents' basement for a while, taking a gap year. I don't know what it is, but if you don't have a plan, if you don't make a plan now to follow Jesus in the future, you're probably going to have a difficult time getting there.
And even for me, thinking about those times
Yeah.
when that commitment was broken for a time, I entered into that without like kind of thinking, I wonder what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so that's not a plan. That's like you said, aiming for nothing,
Yeah.
right? And so I was like, failing to plan is planning to fail.
Yeah.
Is something that I've heard. And you know, if you're thinking, oh, I wonder what's going to happen in college, right? I wonder if I'm going to stay true to these temptations.
Yeah.
If you haven't made that decision now,
Yeah.
before you even get there, chances are that you will
You're gonna be one of
succumb
those
to
two-thirds.
that temptation, and
Yeah.
that you will fall. Not to say that's going to be the end of your story.
Yeah.
You know, you can come back, you can commit to God. He's I mean, always willing to forgive.
Yeah.
But right now, you get to make a decision of who you're going to be
Yeah.
in 3 months, in 6 months, in a year, in 2 years. I mean, down the road. But it does start now.
Yep. And I think again, it's no less applicable to students who aren't yet graduating. I mean, if you're
Mhm.
starting a new job, if you are finishing up school for the summer, and you're like, what is my summer going to look like? Do I have a plan to stay engaged with God and His people, or am I just going to drift for the summer and then maybe come back to youth group? I don't know. So tell me a little bit more about His house, because I've been to one or two. I haven't been to too many, and we hung out and we gave coffee to people for a
Mhm.
while. But if a student doesn't know much about His house, who's it for? What's it? What are you guys all about? How do they get connected?
Yeah, so we're on 11, 12 different campuses throughout Michigan. So if you're going to, you know, whether that's Michigan Tech, Northern, or Lake State in the Upper Peninsula, or most of the universities in the Lower Peninsula, we're there. And I would say it's maybe a little bit different than a church in that we are, I mean, a community. Not
Yeah.
that a church isn't a community, but it just, because college is so different
Yeah.
in the freedom of time that you have and freedom of schedule, we're with each other often. I mean, almost daily in some ways. And so whether, you know, we have our weekly events on each campus, but you know, there's stuff that's going on
Yeah.
every day. Most of our campuses, ministries have a campus house. It's a house that we rent to students, and Caleb lives in one of those here at Michigan State. That's where the name His House comes from, right? God's house, His house. And so a lot of things happen there. Residents host meals and gatherings, and so it's just a family feel to it. You know, you're a part of a group. It's not just, this is something that I do once a week.
Yeah.
It's almost a lifestyle, and Caitlin can probably speak more to that.
Yeah, I mean, that's, oh gosh, I'm nervous because I'm on camera. That's initially what got me to stick around so much.
Okay.
I did come into college with like a plan of like, I know there's gotta be at least one Bible study group on campus. I knew that's something that I wanted, but I never knew it to like the extent of what it could become,
Yeah.
essentially. So like, in addition to that, I do live in the campus houses, which has been great during this quarantine because I have 5 awesome Christian people around me every day, which is really great. But like my freshman year, I go to the welcome barbecue, and there's so many people there, and then everybody just talks to you, and everything. And I met another freshman who was also her first time there, and so that really helped me to plug into. And it's that, but also kind of like community with like a purpose. That's essentially what you said. So it is like you're making friends really well, which is great when you go to college and you don't know anything. But it's also like it's different because they want you to have, you know, a relationship with God, relationship with Jesus, and they do encourage that too. So it's really do I count?
You
I don't know.
two say
Okay,
we
great.
when you've been plugged in for 4 years, you can say we, right? Yeah. No, that's super cool. I was gonna ask you guys. So for some of our students might end up at LCC or be staying around town. Are like, who is His House for? I mean, I know you're at Michigan State. Can a student who's maybe going to LCC connect with you guys?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, we'd love to have you.
Come.
I mean, college age
College age, okay.
people. I mean, we have people who aren't taking classes anywhere, but they're in that age range. And, you know, we're not looking to just help you survive these years in life.
Yeah.
Right. We want you to thrive. We want you to do more than that. And that song's running through my head now. But I think that's what I see that a lot. How to survive, how to maintain, like how to get through college.
Yeah, I'm coping,
As a Christian, and it's so much more than that. And I just think of, you know, Jesus's disciples in their young age. So many different movements that have shaped missionary movements across the globe have started with college age people. And like that's we want to equip you and empower you and show you that you're more than just even just a local church. I mean, you're part of a worldwide movement that God is working through. So.
Yeah. I think one of the things that's unique for people leaving high school is the amount of time that you have to invest relationally with others. It's really different than any other moment in your life, because your family's kind of backing off a little bit and letting you do your own thing, whether you're on campus at a university or living at home. And you're probably not yet married, you might have a significant other, but you just have more time. And you might not feel like that, but the cool thing about His House is, you're right, it's not just a Bible study, it's this moment to like build and live in community with others. And you guys study the Bible a lot, but you get to do it with this group of people that you're just doing life with. It's super cool.
Yeah, and that's one thing we hear from people who graduate and they move on, and they're just, man, I wish it was like what it was in His House. It's not just specific to His House. It's just that time in college where you have all that time, and you just get to be together. And then you move on to, okay, you've got a job, you've got a family, you've got all those responsibilities, and then I'm going to church once or twice a week. I have a small group. Community is not the same, and so this is really the time to dig in and to invest in a relationship with God, invest in your relationship with other people, because this is a great time of growth for you and for what you can do for God's kingdom.
Yeah, well, we really encourage you, if you're a student sticking around town, if you're heading off. I try to make phone calls and get all of our students connected at least a little bit with campus ministry in the college or the town that they're heading to. If you're staying here in town, I'm sure Kevin and his crew would love to get to know you. He's here at church on Sundays, or Siri's talking to me right now. Or you guys got social media too, I guess, right?
Oh, it's there. We're just not that active on it.
Okay. Well, you can talk to Caitlin. She's like your direct representative for His House. And just like start out this journey post high school or as a junior, sophomore, freshman, post school for the summer. Start out that journey with a plan to stay connected with God and His church. And you're gonna dig into this a little bit more when you go to small groups. But the very end of this, Joshua sets up a stone, and he says, look, this stone is a reminder of the commitment that you guys have made, of the plan that you're making to follow God. And I think that each of us, when we step into a new stage of life, need some kind of reminder, whether that's a person or a thing, something that's going to, like when we find ourselves drifting, pull us back and remind us of the commitments that we made prior. So anyways, thanks for being here. We're going to drop some kind of contact information for His House on Modified social media this week. And again, just make a plan. So thank you guys for being. Any last words before we're done with this? We got a couple videos we got to watch yet. Good? Cool.
Go green.
Go
away.
green. Yeah, John. So we've got a hater in the chat. John
that's why I did
Cameron
that.
is tuned in, And he's a great guy, but he's just really confused about the right
Yeah.
university. So, but beyond that, hey, we got 2 more videos and then a couple final announcements, and we'll get out of here. Our videos, we have one that's disturbing. This cat is like eating this food, and I didn't know if cat food was so gross, but here's a cat that's very determined to reach in and get food, overcoming obstacles. Also, cat food is really disgusting, and I was watching this before supper, and I was not into it. But here we go.
It's just really,
Hey,
really
that was really strange, and I don't know, some of the videos that we watch here, I'm sorry that we did that to you. Good cat, very good cat. Not as good as a dog, not as good as a good boy, but it's a cat. Cats are cats. I guess, we have one more final video, and then we'll sign off. And all I can say is prepare yourselves. This video is like 26 seconds long. So here we go.
Huh?
There's something one did to the bathroom.
What?
There's something one is saying to the bathroom.
There's nothing in the bathroom, bud.
I had this mask on it thinks I'm a part of its mates, but I'm not.
There's nothing in the bathroom.
You weren't ready for
I
that.
was not ready
You
for
were
that.
not ready for
Oh, oof.
That was a cat, not like an evil spirit, I promise. It was like an honest
Rewind it.
cat.
I think it's one of the same.
Yeah, I watched that like 8 times. Eric, we might have to drop the link to that video in the chat so people can watch that too. Again, because, yeah, not prepared for that. Also, that little kid, like, there's so much build up
He
there.
put the mask on.
I got a mask on so that it's not going to get me. Ugh. Jamie missed it. All right, we got to play one more time. Play one more time real quick. I'm sorry.
Huh?
There's something one did to the bathroom.
What?
There's something one is saying to the bathroom.
There's nothing in the bathroom, bud.
I had this mask on it thinks I'm a part of its mates, but I'm not.
There's nothing in the bathroom.
That was the noise from the
I've seen
man.
it like 6
It
times
was
now.
from the guy.
And I don't even know,
The
man.
guy barks at the cat.
The guy does bark because he's freaked out. If the cat was lunching at your face like that, wouldn't you be freaked
Yeah,
out?
what would you do?
I'm not saying I wouldn't bark. I just trying to discern what the sound was.
Yeah. Casey, do you have any experience with animals doing that? Last week, and this will be our end. Last week we were in the middle of a modified staff meeting on Zoom, and all of a sudden Casey totally ducks out of the chat. She's gone. She signs off, and then she signs back into a different chat later on and is like, "Hey guys, sorry, my dad opened the door and Benny just yeeted himself to freedom." So it was a great moment in animal history right there. Hey seniors, don't forget to fill out the link. We want your senior information. So that's like school you're graduating from, like a class photo, your plans after high school. We need that information because we put together a senior video every year. That includes our high school seniors and our college grads. So you got to fill that thing out too.
Send it my way.
Yeah, we'll send that your way. Dang, we gotta do that soon. And yeah, get that filled out because we're gonna have Senior Sunday. Grad Sunday is the first Sunday in June. Whatever that looks like, we're gonna be celebrating you. Whether I have to like individually mail you a piece of cake in the mail, we will. We want you to know that you're loved and appreciated, and that there's a place for you here going forward. So that's seniors. Next week, tune back in. We'll be back on See No Evil. We're talking a little bit more about injustice. Eric is going to be teaching. That's going to be really great. And then in 2 weeks, we will be joined by some representatives from Great Lakes Christian College talking about another path that you could choose. Not just college or university, but like intentional ministry focus. So, yeah, that's what's going to happen. Let me pray for us, and then I hope that you guys have some great small group discussions tonight or later on this week when you guys get together. So let's pray. Jesus, thanks again for this evening. Thanks for the chance to just talk about life and making a plan and what's next for us. God, I pray for our seniors who are so dear to us and just part of our modified family. Help them to know that they are loved and that they're loved by your church, whether that's your church here or that's your church somewhere else in the great wide world, wherever they land. God, help them to connect and continue to be your people. Father, I pray for our juniors as well, as they are starting to look forward to what happens after school, and they have another year to plan that out. Give them wisdom, surround them with people who will influence them in the right way. And God, for our freshmen and our sophomores, where things seem like they're a long way away, God, that stuff can creep up on you before you know it. So I pray that they would continue to connect with you, connect with your people, and that they would make wise plans for the future on how they can be kingdom workers. God, I pray that you would guide our small group discussions this week, and I pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
All right, thanks, guys. We'll see
Thank
you guys
you.
next week.